Would you be the jerk for making your neighbors think you're in a cult? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for not letting my half-sister have a necklace that used to be my mom's? My mom died when I, 17-year-old female, was 5. In her will, she left me all her jewelry. One of the things she left was a necklace she always wore. It was one of the few things I remember her wearing, and it's in almost every photo of her. It's pretty big and not very expensive, but it was something she treasured that she got when she was a kid. It stands out. Of all the stuff mom left me, it's the one thing I could never bring myself to wear. I love looking at it, but it's hers, and makes me think of her more than anything else, and I just find it wrong to think about wearing it. And it's not something that could be repurposed, so I keep it safe and have the special little necklace holder specially for that. My half-sister, 8, has seen the necklace a bunch, and she's asked me for it so many times. She thinks it's pretty, and she likes that I love it so much. I told her it was my mom's and she couldn't have it, and I offered her something of mine that wasn't mom's before, but she wanted that one. I had to put the necklace higher up so she couldn't come into my room and take it, but it's still visible. My dad asked why it was so high up, and I told him. He told me I could just keep telling her no. I told him she could still come and take it, and I don't want to get mad at her if she does because I would be furious. He told me it was overkill. My grandpa, his dad, told him to imagine my half-brother taking his watch that great-grandpa left him and maybe breaking it or worse. So my dad talked to my half-sister. She asked more times, and I got her a necklace that was like it but wasn't my mom's. She liked it but cried when she realized that was meant to be in place of it. She told me she really wants that one, and can't I let her have it since I never wear it. My stepmom and dad ended up getting mad at me because this whole thing made her cry. My stepmom told me I value a necklace more than a person and she can't figure it out. She said my sister would take good care of it and it's not valuable. It's also a way I could show so much love with my sister by sharing a piece of my mom with her. She said I always draw a line between mom and my siblings and it seems so cruel. Dad told me it's okay to let both worlds collide and I don't need to treat her stuff like each item is sacred. He said that necklace was her favorite, but if I can't wear it, I should let it go to someone who wants to. He told me if I plan to keep it for the future and let my own kids wear it one day, it would really hurt my half-sister. I didn't give in after that, and my grandpa ended up getting involved again and he took my side, but I think that made my stepmom's anger worse. Am I the jerk? So personally, I don't think OP's the jerk. I really don't buy their whole sentiment that if you can't wear it, you should give it to somebody else that can. I think personally it's completely fine that when you've lost a loved one, an item, especially one that that person loved dearly, you keep just kind of on its own as a special remembrance to that person. Like, is there something actually fundamentally wrong with that? This isn't like OP saying, oh, the one thing they love dear in this world was this food factory that feed hundreds of people, so I want to shut it down and preserve it as it is and just look at it. You know, it's just one necklace. Exploding Fairy Dust commented, not the jerk. Your stepmom hasn't got the slightest clue what actual value is. It is valuable and you should keep it safe. An 8-year-old can't really be trusted to keep something of such sentimental value safe, and both your stepmom and dad should maybe consider teaching your half-sister about boundaries, and that you just can't have everything you want because you throw a tantrum. Given your age, I would explain to your dad how you feel and ask to put a lock on your door so you can feel your personal space and things are protected. Your stepmom is the jerk in this scenario to me, both for not respecting your boundaries, but by also pushing your dad to not respect them as well. Ask your dad why he feels it's okay to upset you to keep your half-sister from getting upset over something she has no claim to. Edit to add, since you don't plan on wearing it, could you maybe get it installed in a shadow box type frame and hang it on your wall? Maybe that would send a message while also keeping it out of reach from both your sister and stepmother. Storing it at grandpa's house is an option that can open you up to complications in the event of his death if you're not his beneficiary. If you want to remove it from your home, the best choice would be a safety deposit box in your name, only at your bank, OP. OP responded saying, she doesn't care about the sentimental value. She sees that it's not worth much money and thinks I should be willing to share it for that reason alone. Not to mention, she sees it as a tug of war on who I love more, my half-sister or my mom. It doesn't help my half-sister see why she can't have it. Maybe it's making her feel more like she should have it. I'm looking into some ideas now to see if I can keep it any safer, but still keep it nearby. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to let my brother's kids stay at my house after they trashed it last time? I, 32-year-old female, live in a nice cozy home that I've worked really hard to maintain. My brother, 34-year-old male, has 3 kids, ages 6, 8, and 10. A few months ago, he asked if they could stay at my place for the weekends because he and his wife needed a break. I agreed, thinking it would be nice to bond with my nieces and nephew. Well, that weekend turned into a nightmare. The kids went absolutely wild. They broke several things, including a vase that was a gift from my late grandmother, spilled juice on my white couch, and even scribbled on the walls with markers. I tried to manage the situation, but whenever I told them to stop or try to set my boundaries, they completely ignored me. When I told my brother about the damage, he just laughed it off and said, "Kids will be kids." He didn't offer to clean up or replace anything. I was really hurt, but didn't make a big deal out of it at the time. Fast forward to now, he's asking if the kids can stay over again because they want to go on another weekend trip. I told him no, explaining what happened last time and that I don't want to deal with that again. He got really upset, saying I'm punishing his kids for being kids and that I'm being unfair. Now my parents are involved, saying I should be the bigger person and help out my brother. They say the kids are sorry and just want to spend time with their aunt, but I'm still traumatized by the last time they were here. Am I the jerk for refusing to let them stay at my house again? I would be impressed if anybody did find OP to be the jerk here. Not only are these kids not disciplined, family or not, they don't have any kind of responsibility for their kids. When your house literally got wrecked last time and they go, kids will be kids, see you next time. I can't imagine too many people are going to go, yeah, see you next time. JYQM commented, not the jerk. He got really upset saying I'm punishing his kids for being kids and that I'm being unfair. This is utterly ridiculous. You are not these children's parent and they do not live in your home. You have no obligation to care for them except in an emergency. It's perfectly reasonable and acceptable to say that you can't handle having them in your home, particularly given your previous experience. Now my parents are involved, saying I should be the bigger person and help out my brother. Why don't your parents take in their grandchildren for the weekend then? Alternatively, if you do want to help out, you can stay at your brother's place for the weekend. That way the kids are at home and can scribble on their own walls if they choose so. Also, your brother could pay you for doing this. This next story is, am I the jerk for ignoring my dad's birthday and not getting him a gift? Ever since I, 16-year-old male, was a little kid, I got my dad a birthday gift with the help of my surrogate grandparents. My mom died when I was 2, so it was me and dad for a lot of years. Dad and I used to be really close. Then when I was 10, he met Jen and he met her kids who were 18 months and 3 years old at the time. Dad and Jen fell in love pretty fast and they moved in together a few months after they met. Jen was divorced and her kids' dad wasn't around. So my dad decided he needed to step up and be a good dad to them. He told me things would change, but I was still his son and he'd make time for me. But ever since he decided Jen's kids were going to be his, he let me down a lot. It started with us having plans and him having to cancel because one of his kids was sick. Then it was they had a play or a game he needed to be there for. Or it was he had decided to have one of the kids' birthday parties early and dad needed to be there. But he wasn't doing the same for me. When I got sick, he would send me to my grandparents or expect me to stay with Jen while he did something with Jen's kids. If I had something on, he would apologize for missing it and say he would have plans with Jen's kids. Oh, and the big thing that upsets me is for the last 6 years, almost, he gives Jen's kids credit and thanks them too when I buy a gift. Even when I tell him it's only from me, he talks about it being teamwork to get him that. I tried talking to Dad. He admitted he let me down. He told me he was afraid of Jen's kids feeling rejected if he were to cancel with them for me, that he didn't want them to feel like he loved me more when all 3 of us are equal. I told him he cares more about them, and he asked how I could see that after 10 years of having all his attention. He asked me to think about the kids whose bio dad walked out on them and who could feel really unwanted if he were to let them down. I told him I didn't care about them or their feelings or whether they feel loved and wanted. I told him I don't feel loved or wanted. I feel resentful of the fact that he gives them credit for my gifts. He cancels on me for them, but won't give me the same back. He told me he can't change it, but he can try to let me down less. I told him he was putting them ahead of me, and I told him I was done. He can enjoy having 2 kids instead of 3. He didn't think I would actually follow through. This big talk happened back in April. Dad's birthday was yesterday and I didn't join in on any of the celebrations and I got him nothing. I didn't even say happy birthday. I knew they were going out for the day, but I didn't go and I knew ahead of time. When they got home, Dad was upset because I was on the couch playing video games. He told me he'd missed me. Jen told me I'd really hurt my dad and was behaving like a child instead of a 16-year-old. Am I the jerk? This is just an unfortunate situation, but I think OP's not the jerk here. And hey, at the very least, all of the things that the other two kids are doing, OP should still have credit for, right? All the gifts, all the celebrations, thank OP for that too, right? It's teamwork, right? After all. Anya444 commented, not the jerk. It is sorta petty, but you tried with grown-up talk and it didn't work out. It was a powerful move to show him how he makes you feel all the time. It's okay to accept stepkids, as he should, but he obviously put them ahead of you. Soon you'll be old enough to move out and forget about all of them. OP responded saying, it wasn't our first talk either, but it was the first one where I tried to be mature and express how I felt and what things bothered me specifically. It ended up going badly in the end, but I tried. I know I tried. And he still couldn't assure me or make it seem like he actually cared. He took me for granted. This next story is, am I the jerk for telling my daughter that yes, it is fair that her sister gets more money than her? I, male 42, have two daughters, 15-year-old female and 16-year-old female, and a son, 18. My 16-year-old daughter is upset with me because I've been giving more money to my 15-year-old daughter, and I want to see if I'm in the wrong here. To start, my younger daughter, 15-year-old female, probably does the most around the house out of all three of my kids. She cooks dinner, bakes desserts, does the laundry and folds it, keeps her room clean, and maintains good grades. Mostly A's and B's with the occasional C. I never ask her to do these things, she just takes initiative. I do help out or take over when I see her working because I don't want her to overwork herself, but she's a big help to the household. On top of all of this, she also does ballet 3 times a week. My older daughter, 16-year-old female, and my son, 18-year-old male, mostly just keep their rooms and bathroom clean. They also help set and clear the table. We have a rule in our house that if you want something particular cleaned, you have to do it yourself, and that's all they really do. All the kids get an allowance. We're fortunate enough that each kid gets $50 a week for doing their chores and being generally good kids. My son doesn't really get his allowance anymore because he works part-time, so now my daughters get about $75 a week. Recently, I've been paying my younger daughter $125 a week because of all the extra work she's doing. This doesn't include the random stuff they ask for. Now, with school starting soon, my younger daughter has saved around $750 since the start of summer, including what she's earned from tutoring her cousin and the money I've been giving her. My older daughter, on the other hand, only has about $200 because she's not the type to save her money. Now, my older daughter is upset because her sister has a bigger spending budget for back-to-school shopping, and she's complaining that it's not fair. She feels I'm playing favorites, and my wife is standing her ground, saying I should just pay them the same amount. But I believe in rewarding hard work. For context, my son is busy with football and hockey, plus he works part-time, so he has a legitimate reason for not doing extra chores. However, my older daughter doesn't have the same commitments, so I don't see why she can't make some extra cash if she wants to. My wife argues that our older daughter has always been a little jealous of her younger sister because she's pretty and gets good grades. But I don't think that has anything to do with the money situation. I talked to my brother about this, and he said our daughter is 2 steps away from adulthood and needs to grow up. If I had acted like this at her age, I'd have gotten a fine payment of a smack on the butt. I'm the breadwinner, and I know it's a different time now, and I really could use some help figuring this out. So, am I the jerk for standing my ground and telling my daughter that yes, it is fair that her sister gets more money than her? I don't think OP's the jerk here as long as it's like an equal opportunity thing. Now, I could understand why she would feel that way if she's making all this extra money doing all this extra work and there is no extra work being available to the other sister to even achieve that much money. Like, if even unintentionally there's a lack of opportunity being enforced here for the older sister. Ghibli fan 96 commented, not the jerk, but you're definitely driving a wedge between the sisters. Maybe give the older sister a chance to earn as much as the younger sister? OP responded saying, thanks for your perspective. I've actually tried giving my older daughter plenty of opportunities to earn extra money like babysitting, helping more around the house, or even getting a part-time job herself. But she just doesn't want to put in the work. She wants the same benefits as her sister without the extra effort, and I'm struggling with whether I should reward that. I don't want to drive a wedge between them, but I also believe that hard work should be rewarded. It's a tough balance to strike. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not giving my sister my wife's clothes? My wife was a corporate lawyer and mediator. She had some very nice work clothes. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and was gone in 2 years. The last 6 months of her life were heck. My sister Sarah didn't do jack crap for us during that time. My wife never liked her. I do not like her. She's a selfish cow. At my wife's wake, she started asking about my wife's clothes and I brushed her off. She wanted to pick out a few pieces to remember my wife by, and I ignored her. It's been 6 months and I've attended my mom's birthday, but I'm still not in the mood to deal with people. Then Sarah comes asking about my wife's clothes. I told her my wife wanted me to donate them to this women's shelter and she often helped. It will help women in need with their own court cases, court appointments, and job interviews. My sister Sarah said my wife was selfish even in death. I asked her what the freak did she mean, and she started going off on how my wife always thought she was better than her, and it's not fair that the clothes are going to charity and not to family. I told my sister I would rather see my wife's clothes lit on fire than on her back. My sister started crying, and my mom came over to see what was wrong. My mom told me to be easy on my sister because she was taking my wife's death hard. The freaking insanity of that coming out of my mom's mouth made me grab my gift and leave. My mom acts like I had to ruin her birthday by being melodramatic, but I cannot believe their emotional blackmail towards me over freaking clothes that they have no right to. OP's definitely not the jerk here. I think it's pretty well documented how OP's wife felt about her to begin with, and they expressed a very noble cause that they already wanted to have happen with their clothes, so I think it's more than fair to say, this is what she wanted to have happen, so I'm gonna do that, sorry, regardless of even beyond personal feelings. Nestor 1953 commented, your wife was better than your sister, who has the character of a, well, you said it, a selfish cow. I'm very sorry for your loss. You're not being melodramatic, you're reacting to something ugly and insensitive in a very normal way. I think you might be wise to avoid your mother and sister for a while. Your sister, maybe forever. Her character isn't going to change and she has no qualms about saying terribly hurtful things if she thinks they further her selfish goals. If there's a group for young bereaved spouses in your area, maybe through your religious denomination or through a community mental health center, you might find people there who are sensitive to what you're going through and can offer you kind peer support. Donate those clothes in your wife's name to the charity she supported as soon as you're ready to do so. Block your sister and your mother. The world is full of kind, supportive people who will offer you more of what you need than your blood relations. Please walk away. You've already gone through enough. Not the jerk. Frequent Couple 5498 commented, not the jerk, who asks for things at a person's wake. Like how inconsiderate and ignorant can a person be? I am so sorry for your loss. I love that your wife wanted to donate her clothes to this organization. And I agree with this person's comment. Find a grief share support group. It literally saved me years ago. Check with local churches. That's how I found Grief Share. My doctor was the one who recommended them to me. Our next story is, am I the jerk for accidentally ruining my friend's surprise birthday party? I, 24-year-old female, and my best friend, 23-year-old female, have known each other since 4th grade. We've always been super close and text every day. She stayed by my side through pretty tough situations, and it means the world to me. A few days ago, it was her birthday. She's never been a big fan of celebrations, so I didn't plan anything elaborate. Recently, she's been dating this guy and I can tell she's really into him, but on her birthday, he didn't even wish her a happy birthday. Instead, he gave her the cold shoulder. She was heartbroken and ended up at my apartment crying. Seeing her like that broke my heart. So I told her that there was no way I was going to let some guy ruin her special day. We spent the day together trying to lift her spirits. We went to the mall, caught a movie, and ended the day with dinner at her favorite restaurant. I made sure to take care of everything, so she didn't have to worry about a thing. Throughout the day, her phone kept buzzing with calls and messages from him, but she ignored every single one. Turns out her boyfriend had actually been planning a surprise party for her. He had invited his family and friends, and he was ticked when she didn't show up. I felt terrible, knowing all his effort had gone to a waste. But honestly, the whole situation could have been avoided if he'd just let me in on the plan. If he had, we could have worked together to make sure she was there and her day would have been perfect. My friend told him that she spent the day with me. He's been texting me nonstop about how I was the one who ruined the party. I told him that I was sorry for the misunderstanding. If I'd known about the surprise party, I would have made sure she was there. My intentions were to never take her away from him like he thinks. I don't mean to seem mean, but I'm like her only close friend and he didn't think to inform me about this big thing? He had time to call his friends and his family, but not her one friend. My friend isn't on his side, but also I feel like she's mad at me too. I really don't know what I did wrong. So, I mean, I guess I kind of get the be mean to them and kind of get them upset at you so that the surprise hits even harder. But it clearly just completely backfired in this situation. And if they hadn't just been straight up rude, it probably wouldn't have happened. The lady Eve commented, "Unless I'm missing something, not the jerk. If you're going to plan a surprise party, you have to play it cool but also not upset the person whose special day it is. He gave her the cold shoulder and didn't tell you, her friend, about the party. What did he expect? Also, big old red flag that he invited his friends and family but not her friends and family." One alternate commented, "This is why I've always said this. If you're planning a surprise party, put it before the date of their actual birthday. Assuming your culture accepts early birthday celebrations because it saves people from being upset. If not, still wish them a happy birthday. The surprise is in the party, not in you remembering their birthday." Our next story is, am I the jerk for making my neighbors think I'm in a cult? I, 24-year-old male, am a huge fan of board games, particularly Dungeons & Dragons. I host weekly D&D sessions at my apartment with a group of friends, and it's been our tradition for the last 5 years. We get into it, we dress up, light candles, chant dramatic incantations, we play some ambient music. I know it's more than the regular player, but we like it and find it funny. Recently, my neighbors, an older couple in their 60s, moved in next door. They're nice enough, but pretty old school. Anyway, they've been giving me these weird looks lately and avoiding me in the hallway, which I thought was odd. But I figured maybe they just weren't into socializing. Well, last Saturday, during one of our sessions, we got really into it. My friend Dave, 23-year-old male, was doing an epic monologue as the evil sorcerer we were about to defeat. And I may have been waving around a fake sword while wearing a hooded cloak. I was cosplaying my rogue character. We were deep in the moment when I heard a knock on the door. I opened it, still in costume, and was greeted by my very concerned-looking neighbors. Before I could say anything, the wife blurted out, "We've seen the people coming and going, the chanting, the cloaks, the swords. We just want to make sure everything is okay." I was caught off guard and without thinking, I blurted out, "Oh, we're just summoning demons. Nothing to worry about." And then I laughed because, obviously, I was joking. They did not laugh. In fact, they looked even more horrified. They just mumbled something about being good Christians and backed away slowly. Fast forward to the next morning and I found a pamphlet slipped under my door for a cult deprogramming service. They even included a handwritten note offering to introduce me to their pastor to save my soul. Now, my friends think this is hilarious and keep suggesting we lean into it, like start wearing robes to take out the trash, or chant in the hallways. I'm honestly tempted to mess with them a bit, but I'm also kind of worried I've legitimately freaked them out. Am I the jerk for accidentally making my neighbors think I'm a cult leader, and should I clear things up or just let them believe it? I mean, if you want to have some fun with it, but by extension, maybe stress their poor little Christian hearts out, you certainly could do so, and I don't necessarily think you would be the jerk as long as you're not going out of your way to kind of harass these people. At the same time, you also could very well just try to explain it's part of your game. But honestly, even people like that who are willing to put a cult deprogramming service pamphlet under your door, they might be the kind of people who think Harry Potter is witchcraft and something you should not have in your life. I remember as a kid, I would play with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I couldn't play that with a neighbor's kid because they didn't believe in that and thought it was witchcraft. Trucker Girl 1075 commented, "This is hilarious and uncannily timely. I'm a landlord and recently had a call from an older couple who lives next to a younger pair of male roommates. They were telling us about weird chanting and other activities they were concerned about. It wasn't during quiet hours and not enough of a disruption for us to look into. I'm sure you aren't our tenants because there's no hallway and the older folks aren't Christian, but still weird to read about. Also not the jerk unless you're keeping them up late at night." Opie responded saying, "Maybe our groups could get together and grow the cult. All our games are finished around 7:30, usually latest we go till is 9. Our DM Dave has 3 kids at home, so we can't waste all this time playing nerdy games with his friends." Our next story is, am I the jerk for calling out my family for keeping the truth from me for years? In March, I, 17-year-old male, learned that my mom isn't my bio mom but is my stepmom, and that my brother and my sister are my step-siblings. I was only 1 when my parents got married, so I don't remember a time before, and my biological mom doesn't want to know me, which means I never grew up with 2 moms or anything. I always assumed I was their bio kid. They basically said I was. I thought my siblings were blood siblings too. I knew they didn't call dad, so I figured half-siblings, but still siblings, which is why growing up, I was so confused about why they hated me. They would get so mad at me for talking to them or breathing near them. They used to fight to not sit next to me at dinner, and fight over who would have to sit next to me in the car. They would say I was never their brother but never answered why. Only answer I'd get was that I was pathetic and I was gross. They would kick me out of the TV and game room because I wasn't allowed in there if they wanted to do something. I was so confused. I looked up to them and so badly wanted them to be like older siblings my friends had, or like my friends were with younger siblings. I cried about it. I asked my parents why. I asked grandparents and extended family why. Nobody ever told me the truth. I also never got why they hated my dad so much, though they never seemed to hate him as much as me. It did a number on younger me. I still have some hang-ups from wanting my siblings to love me and being rejected every time, and being treated like they would catch something from sitting next to me. I started to question stuff when I needed my birth certificate and my parents wanted to bring it to school for me. So I searched it out and found it and saw dad's name but not mom's on there. I asked my parents. They admitted I was my mom's stepson and my sibling's stepbrother, and they hadn't liked that and hadn't liked my dad. They said they had wanted me to love them so it would soften their hearts and let them accept me as a brother. My family didn't like me saying my parents had lied and being mad about it. They think I'm being unfair. They mentioned it a few times, but when they were over at our house a few days ago, I kinda lost it and called them out for lying too and keeping the truth from me. I told them everyone left me in the dark and looking like an idiot about what my step-siblings had meant. They said I expect too much from them. Am I the jerk? I think OP's pretty clearly not the jerk. This is one of those situations where you just have to be honest with the kid when they're old enough to understand. Especially when you know that they're getting picked on by their step-siblings. It isn't fair and it hurts way more for somebody like OP to find out when they're 17 years old instead of when they're 10, 11, 12 and they can process it then. St. Alvis commented, "Not the jerk. They said I expect too much from them. The truth is too much? What nonsense. But I want to know, where the heck is your bio mom? Did you ever get the story?" I needed my birth certificate and my parents wanted to bring it to school for me, so I searched it out and found it and saw dad's name but not mom's on there. How the heck does that even work? The mother is definitely always there at the time of birth. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.